everyone, and welcome to a new Adobe Live session, and happy Wednesday. Today, we're going to have so much fun with my special guest here. And I have the absolute honor to be hosting Tony Harmer today. How are you, Tony?
Yay! Hey, Natalie, I'm good. Thank you. Hope you are.
Oh, I'm super excited. In fact, I'm going to tell the audience today that I did ask you to not please over-entertain me, because I know I'm going to get super excited. So
yeah,
we can't promise anything
to make you laugh. No, absolutely not. No, nothing at all.
Amazing. I want to say hello to our lovely live community here on the chat. Hello, Oliver, Annika, Sandrine, Andreas, and more. The chat is busy today. So just a reminder, if you are on YouTube, just go to behance.net/Adobe Live so we can say hello to you, answer your questions. You can join the chat community. And yeah, it's going to be super fun. We are going to be working on fonts today, right?
We are. Yeah. We are. We're going to build a font live here on Adobe Live. That's what we're going to do. So shall I crack on?
Please.
Yeah, or shall we say hi to some people in the chat? Shall we just find who we've got?
Of course,
just find some people and say hi.
Everyone is excited.
Yes. I can see Annika and Oliver and Andreas. Guten Tag, Andreas.
Alexandra's here.
Yeah. Yes, and Jackie. Jackie's here, Sandrine. Amazing. Loads of good people.
Lots of fans.
Yes. So, shall I crack on then and get into it, and then we can chat more as we go along? How does that sound?
Please, I'm excited. We're going to be using Illustrator as our main tool, our main app. So let's do this. Let's rock and roll.
Yep. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a game style font. Okay. An early game style font. And I just wanted to go into the sort of etymology of a lot of those fonts, starting with E13B MICR. So that's a magnetic ink character recognition font, which was actually designed for banks. These symbols here on the right hand side, so you've got some numbers just there, and the symbols on the side, they deal with routing, how it's going to go through the system. All very interesting, but they existed since the 1950s, and they needed to create ways of making those machine readable and recognizable.
Wow.
In addition to the magnetic ink there. So these things started like this. This is just one example of them, but they were incomplete. They had no reason to have text in them. They were meant surely, but certainly just for numbers, right, and certain symbols. So they were a limited set, but people liked the shapes. So in 1964, a guy called Leo Maggs, and there were other people working on these things as well, but Leo Maggs created this font called Westminster, and he was working at the Hazel Sun Group in Covent Garden at the time. And so this was Westminster, and he took the font to Letraset to see if they wanted to license it and turn it into rub down lettering and all of that stuff. And they said, no, not really keen. And then Westminster became so popular, he took it to another photo setter, became so popular that eventually they got Bob Newman to create Data 1970. And I can remember, I'm sorry to say, I can remember this font coming out because it was all over sci-fi magazines and all of that stuff at the time, the comics that I'd read as a small kid. Beautiful. They had this stuff on. I think it's lovely. And that became a big influence for early arcade and console gaming, right? Ways to make characters that would be recognizable on a screen. And two things I've got to show you in the analog world. This is a Letraset catalogue from 1970, just there with Data 70 in the middle, and Countdown next to it, another font that was popular at the time.
Oh my God.
They're amazing. Now, this isn't my original Letraset book. I think my original Letraset book was yellow and green, but this is the one for 50 pence, that I actually started my career with.
It's amazing. You kept those. It's
Yeah. I've got others as well. But you know, it's because they mean something to you, right? If you start your journey with them, they're actually part of my journey. So, but yeah, that's one from 1970, Madness. From there, and also a book that I'll be referencing here, which you can get, is published by Thames and Hudson, is Arcade Game Typography.
Oh, I love this.
It's a great book by Toshi Omogari. Yeah, and it's got loads and loads of really good reference in there from things in use in the game. I've got to flick through them because obviously somebody else's stuff, but very, very good, and some really interesting facts in there as well if you're interested in it.
You know, it's amazing. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's amazing how you know, we're in this metaverse conversation with all this modern, I don't know, conversations, whatever, but we're still like getting inspired from the 70s, right? And we're still like looking back at prints and you know, you still have that catalog, for instance. And even here on the chat, for instance, like we have Jackie, she already knew about the letter set catalogs, right? So I think it's just fascinating that retro is always, I think it's going to remain part of our creative process forever, probably. So
there's a saying, the saying is nothing new under the sun. And that's because we're always referencing decades, and it's usually 3 decades back. 3 to 4 decades back we find stuff. But the great thing is, of course, is that people see it with fresh eyes and fresh ideas, and they remix it and come up with great and exciting new things. Now, the only other thing I'm going to show you from this PDF that I put together is actually from one of my font design books. So I have these books specifically for game style font things that I put together my characters in, and I go through them and I rule boxes like that, 8x8 boxes, and then draw the characters inside. And in the PDF here, you can see what I'm going to be building today. I'm going to move this off to another screen. So there's the alpha characters just there, and the remainder of the alpha characters, and then some other glyphs that I'm working on. Of course, the at glyph wouldn't have been so important in the 70s. It was used, but it was used for other things than it is now. So there's an at glyph in there, and then the numeric glyphs, and they're the things that we're going to be building out today in Illustrator. How does that sound?
Sounds exciting.
I think it'll be fun.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are we
Carry
gonna?
on.
So I understand that you also like you go from analog to digital. So you have you know, you actually draw the font or like what the letters or anything, and then you take them digitally to the Illustrator, right?
Yeah. So for me, well, these ones here, I'm going to be looking at the screen. I've just moved those onto another screen.
Okay.
But these ones here, what I do is I tend to work them, draw them out like so. And then you can see I work in blue predominantly to start off with, and then I overdraw with red. And if there's anything I want to change, I overdraw in green on the top there, and then black lines. But these ones, because they're in boxes, all these are a map for me to draw them, and you'll see the process that I'm going to use for this. So if I create a new document just here, and I think I'm just going to go with a pixel based document here for now, and let's just have a quick look down there. Everything there is just fine, and I'm going to just rotate that around. So I'll get the artboard tool here, just drop that into landscape mode. Now in a minute, I'm also going to make it easier for you to see the font growing as it's building. But this is the process I use to build bitmap characters like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a grid here like so. In fact, do you know what? I think I'll just click with the polar grid tool just to start off with, because it doesn't matter where it is. And I'm going to make it square, so I'm going to go with 30 by 30, so it can be quite small. Okay, and the number of horizontal dividers, I want 8 blocks, so I'm going to have 7 dividers horizontally, and then I want 7 vertical dividers.
So
That's
mathematics
it.
skills as well. Do we need that?
Not really. I mean, the only thing is that it's accurate. You don't need to do it that way. No, if you could do
No,
it,
of
you could do
course.
that in a bunch of different ways.
Love
But
it.
it is handy to have it. So that way I've got the right number of squares that I want. I don't need the strokes on them, although I may leave them on just for a minute. I'll just make them slightly smaller than they are at the moment. So once I've got that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that over onto the side over here, like so. I'll just move this toolbox out of the way for a second. Just pull that over onto the side and about there. And I'm going to turn it into a live paint group. So Option Command X, that would be Alt Control X on Windows. Or if you want to go or have to go the long way around, okay, Object Menu, Live Paint, and Make from there. Okay, so now I've got that, that's just fine. I am now going to remove those strokes. In fact, I'm just going to undo that and remove those strokes just to get back to there. So let's do that and Live Paint Group. And then I'm going to Option Drag a copy. Now it might be helpful actually for me to just go into outline mode, Command Y or Control Y, so that I can see what I've got. Drag a copy like that. Okay, and then just repeat that.
We got a question from
yeah.
Sean about live paint. That's actually interesting. What is live paint?
So live paint is a method where you can get shapes, okay, and color them in, essentially. That's one of the benefits of it. Do you know what? It's worth me showing you in a separate document here one of the reasons why live paint is so cool.
Amazing.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw two circles. They've got no fill, okay, and a black stroke. That's just so you can see what they look like at the moment. I'm then going to select both of those and turn them into a live paint object. So Option Command X, again, Alt Control X. And then I'm going to use the live paint bucket, which you can access by tapping K on the keyboard. And let's choose a couple of colors just here. So if I go over on this side, I think I'll just use red here for this side. And then I'm going to go into the middle like so and do orange, and then over on this side and choose yellow like that. Okay, all good?
All good. This is cool.
Fantastic. So you can see coloring them in is one thing. But what if the artwork needs to change? Now you could do exactly that by creating two circles, using the Pathfinder command on them, okay, and then just adding the color to those shapes. That's one way you could do that. I'm just going to get rid of the strokes just for a moment here, okay, just so we've got that. Now let's just say that the artwork needs to change. Let's say you're doing this as part of a logo for a client, yeah, and the client says that that relationship between those two circles doesn't look intense enough. Yeah, so there's not enough intersection between the two. Now, if you were using the method with Pathfinder, then you'd have to go and recreate all of that artwork. Whereas here in Live Paint, what you can do, if I just get the direct selection tool for a second and click on this shape and then move it, I'm going to move it with the keyboard. You can see that it just changes like that. It does look a bit like the MasterCard logo, Alexandra, but it's not the MasterCard logo.
Let's clarify that. Yeah, that's just an example.
Yeah, but as long as that relationship still exists, right? As long as there's region A, region B, and region C, yeah, then they will just carry on working like that. Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm going to use that.
Doesn't matter how tenuous it gets, it's a very, very useful way to draw. You can use it for a whole bunch of other things as well. Okay, so that's how it is. Now, when the relationship is broken, just like the world of humans, the magic is over. Yeah, okay, but fortunately for digital graphics, unlike humans, there's an undo. So you can go back to that step.
When are we going to get that option in life, right?
Yeah, I know. But the thing is that it's there, the absence of it is there for a reason, because I thought I should go back to something that you were meant to be away from. But there you are, that's me being philosophical.
I like this metaphor madness. Amazing.
Yeah, there we go. Right.
Great.
Okay, so that's what Live Paint
Thank
does. That's why
you.
you should use it.
Yep.
Okay, all right then. So I'm going to go to, now, of course, you can't see anything at the moment. That's because all of those objects have no actual shape until they're selected. You don't see anything.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but I'm going to start off with this one. Okay, and using my Live Paint bucket, I'm going to choose a color for this. I think I'm just going to work in black for now. And I've got my grid up on the other screen. However, I do not have the right page on. So let's come back down into Illustrator, and I am basically going to just color up blocks like this. You can see how fast this is, by the way, like that. And that's the letter A done. I can then, in fact, if I close this out, hold down the Command key, which gives me temporary access to the selection tool, and click out for the next shape, which I'll find in a minute. In fact, if I go to the selection tool, that'll make life a lot easier. There we go. And then I'll start on the next character. So K again for that, and I start drawing with that, and I'm going to come down like so, and up like that, big, thick, whoops, a daisy. Go with the color there. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to go across, down, like that. Now, so you can see both things happening at the same time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new view of this document. So I'm going to go new window here from the window menu. That gives me another window of the same document. And then I'm going to use the workspace arranger just here to arrange those documents. Now I can change the relationship between them, which is exactly what I am going to do. And then I'm just going to do some zooming here. This way, as I work, you'll be able to see characters appearing and the font being constructed. I mean, this is only the drawing part of it. We've got plenty of other stuff to do to arrive at that place. But
it's a great tip. I didn't know about that.
It's handy, right? Very, very useful, especially if you're in this sort of situation. I accidentally hit the scroll bar just there. If you're in this sort of situation where you are demonstrating things, very useful. That means I've got the room to work, okay, and you get to see what I'm doing. That's so good. There we go. There we are. Okay, now normally I'd work in I'd switch between outline mode and preview mode to do this work, but that's not super helpful for the people who are watching. So I'm going to not do that just at the moment. Okay, so building this out, you can see that it's just by drawing these elements like so with my plan that I have up above. I can just make my way through.
Sorry, back to that amazing tip that you just gave us. Do you think that's relevant to the screen size? Because one of the, and Annika's asking on the chat here, like how big is the screen, or how big screen should be in order for you to have these two options, or
any size. Any size. It doesn't matter what screen size it is.
Okay.
At all. So I do this sometimes when I'm working on a laptop. If I'm working on an illustration, the advantage I've got here is because I'm on a Mac, just hovering across things allows me to change where they are. So I don't have to activate an actual other window. So I can move between the two windows without clicking to make them active. Yeah, it's a handy way to do it. Sometimes if I'm working in a detailed part of an illustration, I'll split them the other way. So I'll split them horizontally, and I'll have one part that's zoomed in and another part that's like this, because it just makes it easier to work. So here we go with the next one, which is a D. Right, so, and I've decided to give curved characters this look. And by the way, that's a common thing to do with bitmap type fonts, is to leave a corner off on things like that. It's not what's happening in mine here, but so I'm just going to make my way through this. Next, of course, this one will be really simple. You can see how quick it is, right? Super fast.
It's fast, it's fun. Illustrator often. It's too late now.
There we are. And the F is going to be even easier because there's one less thing. So it's basically the same in this particular design that I've come up with as the E, like so. Now, I do wonder sometimes about changing those out and about dropping. In fact, let's give that a go and see what it looks like. The other thing is with the Live Paint bucket, I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard to cycle through the swatches. Can you see that?
Oh, wow.
So I can just move through those swatches. And I'm just going to go back to the none swatch here and change that F.
To keep
have a look at it.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering if... See, that's not in my original design, but the great thing is until I actually expand it, I can just leave it like that. So, I think that's more in keeping with the other two. So there's a last minute change on it. So I'll go ahead now and pick up the next box here. So another curved character. So it's going to have a block like so. There we are. And then this one's slightly different.
Do you also, like when you think about the alphabet, do you also sing the alphabet song like I do, just to find out what's the next letter? Or
A, B, C, D. Yeah, I do the abacada, efaka, ejala, kamana, o, pakwa, rasa, da, bawa, yeah, so.
Okay, that wasn't in my school, but I would love to hear that.
Well, you just did. Let's do it again, this time with puppets. Ready? Here we go.
Let's go.
Abacada, efaka, ejala, kamana, o, pakwa, rasa, da, bawa, yeah, so.
Amazing. So that was back to the lettering. Sorry. I love this. Great.
Well, it's a bit of fun. Fun doesn't hurt, right? You can see here, I didn't even need to make that box active. I've just gone ahead and started working in it without making it active. Oh man, I want to do that one over from there. That will teach me. Right, I will make it active so I can see the box. There we go. And we'll try that again. So I went for a lower bar on the H because I thought it had got the good styles on it. I liked that. And it looks like we're going to get through this really quick, but of course the majority of the work comes in a bit later on. So this part for this kind of design is pretty straightforward. Although I have got some characters later on that I might get some feedback on. And maybe we could make some changes, such as, well, you'll see when we get there.
So Tony, I have a question from Jackie. Are the grids on a different layer? That's a good question.
No. They are actually the object. They are the object. So I'm just going to just drop this down. So this is a new version of a font I've already made. So this is a different version that I'm making. No, it is the actual object. So the live paint is like a group. It's a group of those lines which have an appearance. You can change them in the same way. We ought to do a session at some point on live paint because
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it.
Well, for so many people, like Monica Gauser, who we had Monica Gauser on a while ago with Rufus, who does the single point work. She, like myself, was a freehand user before using Illustrator, but it was live paint that completely changed that game for both of us. So we both shifted at that point and thought, yeah, this is actually quite good. And it is. It's amazing.
Experiment more in live paint.
Yeah. Now I'm going to mess around here with the K. So I kind of like this shape. And let's see. What do you think, Natalie? Do you think that is representative of K, or do you think that needs something else?
It reminds me of that snake game on Nokia phones.
Yeah.
Let's keep it. I love it.
Oh man, that's the second time. That's 2 Wednesdays on the trot we've mentioned snake. It was mentioned last week with Gavin.
God, we have to bring it back.
Well, Gavin had even got a Nokia 6620 phone.
Where did he find that? That's
I
insane.
think he's using it.
Oh my God.
I know.
Everyone's going back to flip phones and old phones.
They're coming back though.
Coming
Flip
back.
phones. Flip
Yeah,
phones are coming back. So,
yeah.
Samsung have already got one on the market, haven't they? They've got a flip phone, a flip smartphone.
Exactly. Like the question is it gonna have the same flip phone tools that we had back then, or it's gonna be like more a modern
Yeah,
version?
it's going to be modern, isn't it? It's going to be
I used to
super
have
modern.
the Motorola pink flip phone. I don't know if you remember that, like the typical one with the
Yeah,
that's yeah. Good times.
definitely. Right, N is one in this particular thing because N's got a diagonal. N is one that I struggle with every time I build one of these out. Every time, without exception.
Yep.
And it's just because of that. So the solution I've arrived at this time is this.
Oh, looks pretty
And
cool.
I think that works. Might do a bit of adjustment in a minute because we're going to move down onto another line. So it should have one more just here. And there we go. I mean, the great thing is that once I've got it all together, I can just go for an overview and then carry on from there. This one's probably one of the easier ones on the whole lot. So this one's really simple. This is the O. Just there. Okay, and there we are. We've reached the end of that string, I think. Let's just see. Is there anything else there to color in? No. Okay. So what I'm going to do is two things, because if I go into outline mode here, I've got my other boxes underneath. Okay, and in fact, there you go. If I go into outline mode, you can see the actual objects. You can see the objects are separated from their fills at the moment. So those are the objects that exist. The fill is being added on top of those objects. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change the relationship here between the two. In fact, if I start on just one of these to begin with. So where had I got up to? I'd got up to O, hadn't I? So let's go ahead and do, I'll have a P, please, Bob. Relax. Right, now that I've done that, I'm going to change the relationship here at the top. It's so tricky.
So you can see the whole image.
So you can see the whole thing. Let me just see if I can get, I'm just looking for that sweet hover space and it keeps jumping between the two, which it shouldn't do, but it just is. Come on, give me the double arrow. Right, okay. I'm just going to zoom out a bit on this window, and there we go. Now we can see the thing building out just there. So M is the middle of the alphabet. So I know I've gone just a way over, but I'm going to need some more of those boxes for the numerics and also for some of the diacritical marks, which I'm also going to add in. So those are things like apostrophes, commas, semicolons, all of that sort of stuff. So let's just go ahead and sort that right now, because that way I won't have to go, oh no, I forgot. Which is my normal way of doing things. Oh no, I forgot. And given that apparently I'm supposed to be a workflow expert, that's the rumor. That's what it says on my resume. Yeah, but evidently that's not always the case. Right, there we go. Say again.
Straightforward honesty.
Straightforward honesty, absolutely. Right then, so let's get the next grid up and K for that all-important paint bucket and start drawing on here. So this is one of these characters that you struggle with sometimes. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure I'm going to be painting with black. So this bit's simple enough, that bit's easy enough. That bit follows on from the O, but of course it's Q. Now, I look at several different ways of solving this, but the one I've arrived at this time is to actually add the tail just there down to the bottom of the box. And I'm going to make that a descender. So that will actually drop down below the baseline. So let's go ahead and get the next one. So Command key there just to select the next grid. So this is R, which is going to be not entirely dissimilar to the P from earlier. So let's go ahead and do that. And then under there, I have created these shapes just there.
Ah,
there you are.
Smart.
Do you think it's helpful to see the font above? Do you think as it's growing, do you think it adds to it? I think it does.
That definitely does.
Yeah, cool. S is another one. Now, when last week, oh man, the name escapes me just for the moment. I had someone on creating a font, or was it the week before, with us, and similar thing. S looks like it should be really simple and straightforward, but it's not. Getting it right is really quite difficult, because you've got options that you can do, like, if you want to make similarity with the other things. But now I've done that, it looks like a number 5.
Yeah.
And in fact, in the glyphs I've created for a number 8, that out from there just to take those away. But it is, where do you make the jump across to the next line? Typically the balance works with the heavier section at the bottom, but do you then go ahead and reduce the length of the top there? So you do have a lot of options on how you deal with it. How does it work? Does it work better like that? And so on. But, I mean, all right, it's a little bit less of a problem in some ways in a bitmap, but still it's one that involves a lot of decision making from there. Unlike the letter T for Tonester, which is pretty easy. Then, in a problem that's particular to creating game fonts, then you have got a problem, because what you've got is you've got 2 characters living right next to each other in the alphabet that could look very similar. Yeah. So, with the U just there, you've then got to make something that is similar enough, but is distinct, especially given that it may be at a fairly small size on a screen or displayed very, very quickly. So the solution I have for this one this time is to add some bits here. Now, what I also need to do, because I've not drawn that correctly, I'm just going to wipe these ones out like so. Okay, and I'm going to go back to black. So I've made a drop in just here, which I'm then going to complete like so. There we go. And so they look distinct, I think, enough from the 2 things, and you can tell that there's that angle, even though it's kind of steep. Next one now. So we're into the.
I lost count.
You lost count.
I thought it was you. W.
W, yeah.
Ooh, W must be.
Think only in Russian.
Oh, it's pretty easy. Okay. So
yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, I mean, you can flip the M to do that. You'll notice that I've got a variation. If you look along the top line here, I've added sort of that drop out to the side, and rather than flipping that over, some people do that, and it's not invalid at all. It's but here I want it to be a separate glyph, a completely separate glyph. I just need to pop onto my next page up above. Now, this is the one that is very, very tricky, and it's the X, right? Very, very tricky to do. So let me just set up the blocks I created for the 4 corners, because you kind of need those. Then it's how you deal with those diagonals. Now, I don't want them to be symmetrical, so I've had to make decisions here on how exactly they're going to join together. And what I've decided to do here is to create that block.
That's
like
cool.
so. and it's almost like a person glyph, really.
Yeah.
It does have a bit of character to it. And then the why.
Tell me why.
tell me why. Anyway, right, moving on.
Moving on.
We were singing enough at you in the green room. There was enough singing going on.
Oh, I love this. It looks like the...
Yeah, it's got something to it. It's got, it does have some character. It's a character with some character. So that's where I'm going with there. Again, the Z or Z, however you want to do it. Z actually makes more sense to me, but there you go. What I've done here is I've joined them together like so. Oh. And it doesn't look anything like the 2, which is another thing that it could be distinguished with, which you'll see when I get onto the numeric characters in just a second. So let's have a look here. Not doing too bad just at the moment. Good. And on the next line down, I'm going to take the first one here and zoom in on that. I'll change the view that you have just here. Just try and gently bring that up so you can see the whole thing. That's close enough, I think. Okay. So number 1, pretty straightforward. The distinguishing thing is the kind of serif node onto the side there. And the number 2, like so. How did I go that time? This time, there we go. Nice. And even though it seems like there's a limited number of things you could do with this, there's actually not. I can't remember what the number of permutations actually is, but it's quite high.
Yeah. So, 2.
Yes.
I remember we said, was it the S? No, the S was for the 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Z, the Z. The Z and the 2, they've got to be distinct. They've got to work out together, I think. And that's how I've solved 1, 2, and 3. 4.
Do you have a lucky number, Tony? I was wondering.
It's your number, Natalie. Do I have a lucky number? No. No, I don't. I used to think 3. I used to think 3 was my lucky number.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not.
No. And then I thought 4 was my lucky number. Yeah. And then I thought, oh, the Chinese have 8 as a lucky number. 4's an unlucky number in China.
Oh,
yeah, but 8 is considered a lucky number. It's also like it is an infinite loop.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it's that. But do you know what? It's whatever number I think, yeah, that's a good number for today. I have no predisposal to. Do you have one? Do you have a lucky number?
I do, but I'm seeing here from the chat, Viola saying, "Don't ever say your lucky number." Okay, why? I'm pretty superstitious, so I'm.
Well, do you think someone else is going to steal it? I've got your lucky number.
I'm gonna use your lucky number for the next lottery, right? But no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do. I don't know, and I have to say, I always see it around. It always pops up. I don't know if it's
numbers tend to do that. Strangely, we do use numbers.
Yeah, street numbers. Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, I don't know. It always just the same one pops up wherever
It's an odd thing, that whole notion of luck.
I know.
One of my daughters, and I'm not going to mention which one because she'll kill me. Because as you know, I have 4. Yeah. But one of my daughters said one day, she said, "Oh no, I've just seen a red van. That's really unlucky." And I said, "What?" Who said red vans are unlucky? And I thought, and I said, and on what most things concerning luck are based on wisdom, right? So people say it's unlucky to walk under a ladder.
Yeah.
It's potentially unlucky to walk under a ladder, but what it is stupid. It's stupid to walk under a ladder because there's probably someone on the ladder holding something that will hurt you if they drop it. Yeah. It's got nothing to do with luck. It's got a lot to do with stupidity.
I love that. That's
You know, but she just said, and I said, so where does this come from in our history that red vans are really unlucky, given that red vans weren't a thing, yeah, until, you know, it's sort of the 1940s. Yeah. And then I said, and also it's lucky for you that we don't live next to a Royal Mail department, because you know, you wake up every morning and cry.
You're gonna see, yeah.
But at least it broke the whole ridiculousness with, you know, I've seen a red van that's going to be unlucky.
And I love how we moved to number 8. Sorry, just or is that
what's
okay.
that? What?
No, because okay, so now it's 6. Number 6. Because we have.
I'm not a number. I'm a free man.
Oh jeez.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, I think you make your own luck, like you said. And I mean, you know, if you work hard for it, it means that you're smart enough to realize it is gonna get you somewhere or not, right? I don't know.
You know, you just, yeah, it is. You're the, you know, you're in the driving seat of your chance. You can make. I mean, all right, there are things that happen.
Yeah.
There are things that happen. You think that's a lucky escape, or that's, you know, I've been in situations where I've been appreciated a sort of a chance at something, but yeah, I don't pin my life on it. Now I'm struggling now with the 9 because my design, which is above, I was not happy with it, and I started redrawing it on another page that I did not scan.
So you're struggling with the 9. The chat community is struggling with the fact that why did we jump from 5 to 8? So we still have like the 6 and 7 crying in the corner as.
Well, yeah, well, I don't like those numbers. We were talking about lucky numbers. I can tell you which ones are unlucky.
Okay.
No, I'm going to redraw them. No, because I want to keep them in sequence because it will just make life easier.
Okay.
Here, so I did not realise that I'd done that. You see, there we go. So thank you, chat, for helping me out, and also
thank you,
the
Nancy,
numbers
for interrupting me.
the numbers concerned, they're grateful. Thank you. No numbers were harmed in the making of this Adobe Live.
Tim, we need a message in there. We need the.
So amazing. Good. Right. Moving on. And yeah, there we go.
Cool.
I think it makes a pretty good 7. Now we've already done the dress rehearsal for the 8, so it's going to be all on me if I mess it up. I'll mess it up now.
We have record of that.
Yep, it will be there. It will be there to haunt me forever and ever. And I have not managed to mess it up just yet. We'll have sort of connected the wrong parts. There we go. See, that works.
Yeah. Does
it work better though if I do that?
I think so. My eye just kept seeing like a person. I don't know why. So I feel like it's less.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
No, I'm going with it. So the 9, which I'd redrawn because I didn't like the 9 in my design, I'm going to go ahead and work on that now. So I'm just going to go up like this. But there are loads of different things. This technique that I'm using here does not just apply to creating characters in this way. There are many, many things you can create with it. In fact, I'm going to drop a plug for my own YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, I'll show you how you can make a Chinese maze, using live paint.
Good. Let's see if we can pop that in chat, the link.
Yeah. So Tim will have to find it. Tim's done it. Hypergroovy.com.
Tim, always ahead of the game.
Tim, always there. You see, now this to me looks like a G. And I'd done a good design for it just a minute ago, or a good amend. I think I need to take that out.
Yeah, looking better now. Ah,
Not sure. Not sure. I'm going to go back to those. I'm going to clear those down.
I mean, we can add like keep it as it was, but then remove like the top at the
Corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would quite possibly. So take this one out, drop the other ones in. You reckon?
Yes.
Drop those in like that. Now, does it need that bit there? No, I don't think it does. I think the main block of it is there. The great way to see it is because we've got it small on the other screen. We can look at that. We might have to come back to it, but the great thing is we can as many times as we want. And then finally, the 0. So to make the 0 distinct
to the O.
From the O.
Make it more square.
Simple as that. Yeah. I mean, you could, if you wanted to do like the diagonal in the 0, do that. But all I see when I do that is a -2. In the negative space, I see a number 2.
Oh my God, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to just stick with that. Cool. Right. Okay. So those things are working all right. Let's just see what we've got in an outline mode. That's good. And a quick save as well is a good point. We don't want anything wigging out right now. So I'm going to go ahead now and do some other glyphs. I've got a question mark glyph I want to add in here for no real reason. Just fancied adding in a question mark.
I love it. Isn't that in I'm not sure if we can say the name in the stream though. It's copyrighted, but yeah, it just
the Riddler.
It reminds me of one specific game. We have the boxes, and you have to bump the person's head up so you can. Not sure. Well,
yeah.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with it reminding you of something like that. I've just got a hot cup here, so I'm just going to move that down. Very good.
Lovely. Question mark. Exclamation
mark.
Exclamation mark.
Yeah. So some simple ones now. I think I am going to make a comma like so. Okay. I am then going to make a period will be just like that. And then I'm going to do a semicolon, which is going to be like that. Although my design actually had it like this, which actually might be clearer. I'm going to change this one. Nice. There you go. That works, I think. Got one more box just here. So for this one, now that we've made a semicolon, it would be wrong not to make a colon. So we'll do that. Like so. And did I put anything else in? Oh, I put some arrows in, but I'm not too worried about the arrows. Good.
Okay.
Let's have a minute just to review what we've got there. We do have space for others, so I'm going to grab these live paint groups here and just move them down. Whoops a daisy, out of the way. So I'm just going to select those. Just going to drop just a basic fill across all of those, so they go there. There we are.
Explanation point, or did we? Or am I not seeing it?
Yeah, no, no, I haven't done one. So that's odd for me not to do that. So what I'll do then.
We have 2 dots though.
We do. Oh yeah, we do, because I didn't finish my semicolon. What I'm going to do is we're going to go up here and do that. So live paint bucket and do that. That's my semicolon. And then the exclamation point.
Sorry, I'm just thinking, because is it explanation point or exclamation?
Exclamation.
Exclamation. It's okay. I always had issues saying that anyway, so
Yeah. But well, now we're good. Oh, I said the at sim. I was going to do the at glyph as well. So I'm just going to move that across. It should be. Let's go ahead and
explanation. Explain your point.
exclamation.
Explain your point.
You're messing with the language. You're messing with it. You're messing with it, Natalie. It's gone crazy.
Oh, okay. I'm just like following Tim's play on words tactic there.
Right, Tim mentions a typographic point there. In typography, it is also called a bang. That's true.
Okay.
There is even a hybrid of the interrogation mark, which is a question mark, yeah, and an exclamation mark called an interrobang. So it's something that serves both purposes, the interrobang. And here's what's the so you know, oh, actually, just give me an idea, Natalie, or and Tim, both of you together. I'm just going to go into outline mode here because I am going to drag copies of 2 more of these boxes, because what we should do and what we can do is our question mark. We could create a copy of that, which we could then do
that's exactly
this way.
what Sandrine just proposed on the chat. An upside down, of course. But actually, okay, yeah, makes sense.
And you do the same with exclamation points. That's one thing from Spanish that I don't understand why we don't have it, right? Because it makes it so much easier to know when you're reading text that it's a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have that ahead, it tells you, it frames up the sentence to let you know that it's an interrogation.
That's so interesting.
That's the thing.
Side note, completely not related to that, but I'm actually I'm actually reading a book, a novel, and it's this writer's third novel actually. So it's the first time she does that. She decides to remove the quotation marks every time someone is having a conversation, and it's just driving me insane. Like I don't know why she decided to do that, but to your point, having a question mark in the beginning is really helpful for the reader, right? To know, so yeah, I don't know.
And that's what it's about. Clarity of language is about making those things understand. Give me a second. I've got an audio issue.
Oh, good.
So there you go. Just resolving that. Give me 2 ticks.
That's even better.
So I'm just going to switch everything over to this. There we go. How's that?
Much better.
Perfect. Right. Sorry about that. Does happen. So one character, of course, we would need. So I'm just getting rid of the fills here because the fill is focused. I'm just getting rid of the fills for this at the moment. So one character we're definitely going to need in this day and age, right, is this one. So I don't have this in my plan. So
I love last minute plans. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So I'm doing kind of this is an on the fly edition.
Nice.
So there we go. The hash. Yeah. So here's your question. If we're doing typographic knowledge, yeah, what is the proper name for that character? What is the typographic name for that character?
Should we get answers from the chat, maybe?
Yeah. Oh no, they're remarking on my voice now, saying I've got a John Peel voice. Oh man, can I be the new John Peel? He was a DJ, radio DJ, Natalie.
Okay.
In the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and he did all of the alternate music. He was brilliant, an absolute genius.
And had that voice.
Yeah, so I can see the chat now. So I can see that Oliver's saying pound. In America, it is the pound sign in America. So pound is one of the names for it, but it's not the full typographic name.
Let's see. Octothorpe.
Octothorpe. That is what it is. Who said that? Let's have a look.
Anuranjan.
Ah, top marks to you. Even forgetting the octo part. Yes, that's it. An octothorpe is what it actually is. There you go. There you are. Yeah, and I can see that some people are diving in with that now. Right, okay. So now we've got all of those characters. They're all there and ready. Now, I'm still not 100% on that X, you know. Still not 100% on it. So I think I'm going to modify.
It looks like a Space Invader.
It does look like a Space Invader. I concur. Right, so I'm just dragging a copy of it. So I've got like a safety copy. And then I'm going to make some changes. And I think what I might do is I might refer to my book and see what other X's I've designed. If I can get to... that's quite nice, actually. So I'm going to get my live paint bucket. Now armed with the live paint bucket. I'm going to get rid of that section there. I am going to... How about that?
Can we see the comparison?
Ooh. You had this X, but now you've won this one.
Oh, I think it's looking much better. I can see even an animation of it in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Cool.
But it's one of those problems you've got where they've got to meet in the middle, really. Although some X's in, if you look through that book that I mentioned, the Thames and Hudson typography book there, you'll find that quite a few don't. But for me, with this particular one, I do have a meeting in the middle. So there you go. Richard Turner Jones is here. I did not know that. Hey, mate. Epic. Right. So I'm going to say now then that this is good to go. All right, because it's what have we got? We've got half an hour, so we want to get it all done. Yeah. So what I need to do here is I need to turn these into compound paths or groups because they won't work as live paint groups as they are. And I also want to do two things with them. So I want to stop them being a live paint group. Yeah. And then I want to run a merge command on them, which will join everything together. Yeah. Or I could do a union. So to make that slightly easier, I'm going to go ahead and bring up my actions just here. And I'll create, just for you, I'll create a new set like so. Okay. And then I'm going to record an action. Okay. So I'm going to hit this. This is going to be called expand live paint. So ELP plus merge.
Nice.
Yeah, in fact, I might call it expand because there is one called ELP in my other set. So, and I can set a function key for that if I want to. If I want to use my F keys to do that, and I think what I'll do is I will go with F12, and I will add command into it as well because I do know I've got another action that uses F12. So I'm going to do record. Then I'm going to click on my first shape here. Okay. And then I'm going to expand it in the quick actions area. So that's now expanded. Yeah. Now it does form a group. I could use the group, but every square that's in there would be described inside of Illustrator, right? So it would give the coordinates of the 4 points to describe it. Yeah. It would be much easier if it was just describing the points around the outlines. So I'm going to use this merge command. Now, while I'm using merge, right, whereas I could use unite here, I'm using merge because I sometimes make color fonts. And the merge command will join together areas that share a common color. Yeah. So I'm just going to do that thinking ahead for the next time I need to use that. So if I do merge and then go back to it, okay, and select it, you can now see that it's outlined. And if I go into outline mode, you can see the difference there. Have you got that? It's nice and straightforward, I reckon. You seeing it?
Yeah, this is
Cool.
Yeah.
So now I can go through in turn on each one and just do Command F12, and that's done. Now this is the bit that's going to be. This will be the bit that's going to take the most time, because I'm going to have to go through every single one of them and do it. But I mean, it's not, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like the worst thing that could be happening. There's something wrong with that action. Tim's just telling me in my ear something I missed. I didn't stop the recording, so let me just delete that part there, because I've got the action looping up on itself. Thanks for that, Tim.
This is amazing. I'm mind blown. I didn't even know that's something you can do. I've always done like the old school, like you said, group, and that's it, right? But now it's like this new function. This is amazing.
Yeah. So there we go. I've got to all of those different places just there, and very quickly working my way through it and turning those into the things that they need to be. And I'll work backwards across the next line here. So these things, these marks, actually, I think I've just got repeats of the same mark there. So I obviously missed something out. I'll leave those as live.
Yeah.
This one here. And in fact, what I'll do is, because there's a risk of leaving those in there and me then trying to add them to, or this particular one, trying to add them to something else. So I'm just going to move that down with this lot over here. There we are. Right, now making my way backwards. Unfortunately, you can't select the whole line. Well, you could, and you could expand it and merge it, but it will merge together all of those different characters, which will take just as long, because you've got to go into it and then, you know, get each one of those and fix it. So I've got a line there selected. That's it. There we go. So just going through each one in turn. Are they enjoying this in the chat, Natalie, by the way? I didn't ask you.
Yeah. The chat is just on fire today.
Is it? Awesome.
In fact, Richard is commenting on the play and record at the same time. I'm not understanding this reference though. So
no, what it is that I had the action looping on itself, because the action I'd created had play action in it.
Good to know.
So it is one of those things that does happen, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen while you're talking to other people about how efficient it is. That's where these things come from. But otherwise, that would, if Tim had not said in my ear, stop the recording of the action, then it would have just carried on, and everything I'd done from here on in would have become part of that action. It would have been pretty funny, apart from when it's not. So just a couple more, I think. I've got my upside down query mark there. So let's do that. And did I do the exclamation mark? Nope. Okay. Oh, I didn't do the semicolon either. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out. Then I'm going to flip into outline mode. So Command Y or Control Y to do that. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for outlines like that. I can see two there that I've missed. Right. So I'm just going to drop back in and pick up the Octothorpe. Which one was it that was not done? There we go. This one here. Done. And then there was one more, which was the F. So let's go back to that one. Again, you can see not a big deal, but you can see that already as well, the value of doing that. Just that quick flip into outline mode shows you if there are any potential problems that might go on with that. So with us now having the whole thing built out, what I'm going to do is close the other window. I can also close my actions window, move this. In fact, I don't even need that toolbar just at the moment. And I'll keep those just in case I want to add something in a bit. So now, quick save. And then we're ready for the bit where we actually start to prepare it to turn it into a font in... was it? Jackie's saying, Tony, that was the duplicate colon. Oh, it was the duplicate colon. We'll get rid of that. There you go. It's gone, Jackie. It's like it never existed. Just going to grab a quick mouthful of coffee.
Yes. Now my favorite part is coming. We're going to turn this into an actual font.
Into an actual font. Now, this one's black and white, so it'll be used. It can work or black only. It's not black and white. It's black only. Mm-hmm. So this can be used in pretty much any application. Color fonts, however, that's a different thing. So if you were making a color font, in fact, I've got one because I opened one this morning to find. Let me just see if I can. Here we are. Just there. This is a color. This is a color font.
So cool.
And I did this on a Behance session last year, I think it was, or the year before. Mm-hmm. Color fonts can only work in certain applications. Yeah. If you try and put a color font into an application that doesn't understand it, it just changes it to grayscale and does it. But if you're using something that does understand them, then of course you get the good full colorness of doing it. Right. So I need my rulers out and I need a guide, and it needs to be an actual guide. So I'm going to drag that down and connect it with the baseline, because the one thing that, let me just unlock the guides as well. Oh, they are unlocked. Okay, interesting. I'm just going to undo that then. Let's zoom in so I can see the base of that character and just drop that in like so. The one thing that Font Self needs is it needs a baseline. Now you can add the other guides that you may have associated with the font. So the next one up from there would be maybe one at the top for the caps height, because that helps with the positioning of things like apostrophes and so on. So that's a useful one to have. You can also have the X height, and then you can have the descender height and the ascender height. Yeah, for that lowercase characters if you're doing them. But this is a display only caps font here. Now what I need to do, I need to make sure that I've got that guide selected, and I want to go into my layers just here, and this is the next laborious part of this. Is because we need to, we'll see how it goes to start off with, but what you should actually do is you should name all of those layers with the character name. But that said, the intelligence that is in Font Self can work it out. But this guide, I'm going to change this to baseline like so. So let me just expand the layers panel here so you can see that. If I just make that a bit wider, there we go. You can see that guide, if I turn it off and on again, that is that guide called baseline, because Font Self needs that. Now let's try and quickly go ahead and put all of these together. So I am going to...
One question on the guide. Is the guide purpose decided by position or order added?
By position. Yeah, so the baseline guide needs to sit with the baseline of your font, because that is the one thing it can't really do without. It will generate you a font, but you might get some unexpected stuff happening. What I'm doing now is I'm just going to get all of these things up onto one line. So I'm going to, with those selected, I've clicked again on the A character here to turn that into a key object. Pardon me. Okay, because now I can use the align panel here, okay, to align to this key object and also to space these things out. And what I want to do is I'm going to add 10 pixels arbitrarily in between those objects. So if I go ahead and do that, in fact, I could get away with doing it much less. So there we go. I've added 2 between each object. I'm just going to change my artboard here. So Shift O will get me the artboard tool and make this artboard a bit wider. There we go. Something like that will do. And I'll select all of these characters just here and bring those up
Looking good.
It's working out all right so far. Fingers crossed. Okay, so now I have all of those things just there. Once more, I'm going to use the spacing. Now, if this isn't lit here, it means that there's not a key object. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on that A again to make that the key object.
You know, quick question on the Q.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. So the Q, because I aligned all of the characters in Illustrator and said align them to the bottom, that is the bottom of the Q. So what I need to do right, is I need to bring that down so it's aligned on the baseline like that. And what a smarter thing to do if I wanted that to be exactly on would be to select one of the neighboring letters and make that a key object and then choose align top. And I don't know if you saw that, but the Q moved down just a little bit because I'd aligned it by I. Yeah. And that means if it's typed out, it's going to go a bit wrong. It's not going to work. Right. I've got the alpha characters just there. That's fine where they are. I could bring the numeric characters in as well. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just select the Z just there, make that a key object, and then choose align bottom. And with all of those things selected, I'm just going to say align those spaced by 2 pixels each. There we are. That's kind of working. Right, without those layers being named, font self might not like it, right? It might, but it might also learn because it has got some intelligence. So I'm going to open up font self now. So extensions and font self maker. And that takes a moment or two to launch. Here it goes right now. There you go. And for some reason, that panel's looking weird. So what I'm going to do is just try and reopen it. Okay, weird. There we go. Illustrator UI, crazy. Right then, so it's because of the zooming I've got. I think that's why it's acting up. So I'm going to select those characters with the guide. Okay, this is an important thing. The guides need to be unlocked so you can select the guide. In fact, let me just make sure. I didn't lock that, did I, in the panel? I did not. Good, because that's handy to know. I can then bring these letters. Now you don't have to do them in the way I'm doing them. You could have all of them on their baselines. Yeah, because you could just have other guides called baseline as well to drop the different things on if you wanted to separate them out in your file. You can have everything and font self will work it out. Okay. I'm going to drag this in, but here it's switching out and I could do any character if I drag those in, but here I'm just going to do uppercase alphabet.
Okay.
And let it just have a look and see what it can work out.
Magic. Oh.
Now it's giving me some hazard marks just here.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's because it's not found it. Right, but that's not a bad deal. But it's because it's got no name in there at all. I can, however, get a glyph and whoops-a-daisy. Let's just zoom in. And this would have been avoided if I'd have named the layers in there. It would have gone, yeah, okay, I know what that is.
Layers.
Yeah. So let's just have a look at what it finds me. Just there, you see it's taking that down to somewhere else. I'm going to do a new font and I'm just going to name those layers. Let's do that.
We tried to avoid that, but there's no way out.
It's just the way it is. But again, it's not like, and also, if this is case sensitive, so if you were doing upper and lowercase glyphs, yeah, that's where you'd need to type a lowercase. And if you're doing alternates, you can do alternates. You need to, well, in fact, the guides are in font self. I think you type Alt plus Alt on the end, and that gives you alternate glyphs that you can use. You know what I mean by that, right? So when you hover over them, you get a choice of another character. If not, I'll perhaps get a chance to show you in a second. So, but first I've got to just work through this here. Sometimes it works out. And as you can see, sometimes it just goes, I don't know. I have no clue. But I've just got to do this 26 times. And now for some music. And
N.
here comes N for Natalie.
And for Natalie. O for Omar. P
Omar.
for
Yeah.
Patrick.
Oh, get everybody's name getting in there. Q for Quentin.
Quentin. R for Ramon.
Ramon.
Is that an S? Oh yeah. T for, okay, you're moving fast. Amazing. V, W. Yeah, almost there.
Ah, those look what I can see where there might be a problem. Okay. Although they weren't selected. They're in there, but they weren't selected. I'm going to select those, and I am going to, well, actually I'll just leave them be. I'll send each one to the back just in case they are getting picked up. They shouldn't be, but just in case. Okay, so 1, 2. One of my friends has perhaps the best name ever. His name is Orlando Arocena.
Orlando. Wow.
Oh man. I so wish my name was Orlando Arocena.
You're still on time to change it, Tony.
Because, you know, you could just imagine myself walking into a swanky hotel, you know,
your reservation,
all dressed up, all nice. And someone saying, "Good evening, sir. Could I take your name?" "Yes, I am Orlando Arocena." Everybody's going to go, "Oh, it's Orlando Arocena."
Tell me whatever you want.
Don't watch this, Orlando. It's going to creep you out. Oh, dear. Anyway, right. So I'm also going to make sure that that guide is selected because that doesn't look.
So it was locked, right?
Yeah. Now it's selecting.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
But you could see it showed it was being unlocked.
Yeah.
Weird.
I love this. Learning live.
All the time.
Learning
all
live
the time, Natalie. I'm going to ignore what's there. I'm just going to go ahead and create a new font. Just say new font, like so. And let's drag this in. Let's try that and see what happens, because we should get a slightly better result this time. There we go. Interesting. That's not actually a compound path. So I can go ahead and fix this one. Let's just have a quick look at what's going on just there. It's a group. Let's ungroup it and see what's going on. It is a compound path. Anyway, I'm going to select those two things. Let's just see if it goes ahead and adds that. I can do it a different way. Let's go into here and let's target that and replace it. Oh, do you know, I'll fix it first. And
why would it do that? Any idea?
Just because it just didn't see it as being a compound path. It saw it as being a group. Now let's just see now if it recognizes it this time around. No, it doesn't. So I'm just going to type uppercase B as its identifier. And there you go. Fixed the mundo. In the window above it, right, we can see the characters. Yeah, so we could try this out. Now, notice here, right, that I started typing uppercase N and ATA, and it's substituting that because we haven't made any lowercase glyphs.
Smart.
Right, so if I put my caps lock on,
here we go.
We can start to test it out. I think that works.
I love this.
That's not too bad.
It's not too bad at all.
Yeah. So let's just try and get those numbers in just now. So I'm going to go ahead where I can see those, or where we can all see them side by side. So I've got that all important baseline selected. Let's drag that in. Numbers at 0 to 9. It's recognized those. It's also showing me there's a problem with number 8 on there.
Oh.
Now that's interesting because it sees, right, okay, there's no 0, which is, of course, where it should be. So I'm just going to put 1 just there. Go ahead and that's 3. I think I accidentally deleted one, but that's replace.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So
Oh,
Oh, it's not doing it because I didn't say to replace it.
oh, yeah, you're gonna have
Yeah,
to
that's what I need to do. I need to kind of tell it. That is an 8, but as I'm going to come back to that in a moment.
Oh, here's an interesting question from Jackie. If you
Yep.
put the whole collection and like the whole capital collection and the smaller scale A to Z, would that make it work if you
You
write?
could do, yeah, you could do that and say these are lowercase characters. That's where you drive.
Okay.
You drive on that and say these are lowercase characters. That's a perfectly valid way of doing it. You could do that.
Here you go, Jackie.
Provided it works. So yeah, we're all good. So I'm just going to drop this in as any character. So that's going to come in again. You've seen that before. It's now identified that as being a 2. Yeah. So let's try with the 4. Let's bring that in like so. Now it might start to go, oh yeah, right. Let's just replace that one. So I'm going to try this one and see if it works out. Just there, maybe it will go, oh yeah, now that I know what a 4 looks like, this is probably a 5. Ta-da! Now here's the problem with the number 8. It's currently a group. I know this because it tells me in the options bar at the top of control strip, and it also tells me at the top of the properties panel that I'm working with a group. I'm going to ungroup that. It now tells me that it's mixed objects. Interesting. Let's find out what the mixed objects are. Okay. It's a compound path. Cool. Okay, so I've got both things selected. Let's drag that in. Any character. You can see, though, that this is actually really, really easy, this part. The difficult part comes in doing all the spacing that you do and all of that stuff. So let's just say that's a number 8.
It's easy
I think we're missing the 7, aren't we? Is that
yeah, the 7
where we are? Yeah, so there's no 7. So let's go ahead
0.
and get that. Drop that in. And font self is, although you can get in, if you want to get in and get down in the weeds with all of the spacing metrics and the changing the side bearings, that's what these dotted lines are. So the side bearings are how a character knows to relate to another character. Now, in a Roman kind of font where you might have a circular O and or a V and an A, that's a good example, a V and an A. Yeah. You might need to change the side bearing and pull the side bearing in a bit so those characters naturally kern slightly better together. Right. But you can do all of that stuff. You can get into all of those different things in there. So what's missing now? Sorry, say again.
0 missing.
0. So at the moment, 0 is a group. So I'm going to get that out. So it's a compound path.
And my H from my name, by the way.
Oh, is that not in there? I did not see that. I'm sorry.
I had to throw that in there.
Oh, it's there. Oh, in us.
All good, all good. Let's focus on this. Oh,
yeah, it's after the T. Yeah. There we go.
All good, all good. So we have the 0 in there. That's solved. Just remove the H from the K.
Is it?
Hey.
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
We'll go back to where we were. Right. Okay. So let's just have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the alpha characters are here as well. We can go ahead. We could. I mean, we don't have too long left, but we could always add more stuff. A good idea would be to save this. Okay, so this is MICRO Fusion 22. Okay, that's the name of this font. Now, something else you should do. So I'm just going to save this onto my desktop. Just there. Tells me it's done it. I can open the font, browse the destination folder where it is. Something you should do, especially if you're going to sell these fonts, right? Or put them make them available on your website. Some people do that. Sign up for my mailing list, and you get this font.
Okay.
And this handy guide. Working with puppets.
So, but what you should do is you should go ahead and complete these fields, because it's your assertion, of your rights. That's where you let people know that you own this. It's yours. So if you see it on the mugs of any dodgy politicians, right, you've got a comeback.
It's such a beauty. Like you have this on Illustrator that makes it easier for you. It's just it's insane.
Straightforward. Right, so you can put your URL in there. So I'm going to do https://hypergroovy.com, just there, and I'm manufactured by Wizardry Limited. I'm distributed on, so you can put that stuff in there. I'm licensed as
rock and roll star. Oh, sorry.
You can actually put the correct identifiers in there for that. View my license. So if you are providing a license for it, you need to make sure that you've got somewhere where people can go and read the license, the EULA, the end user license agreement. You can put a bit more about me. I'm so sexy, dude. No, actually, that's probably not the best thing to put on there. Right. Here's a demo text. The quick font tool jumps over the lazy designer. I'm copyrighted. Right. So we'll put that in. So option G makes that really easy on there.
This is really great. This is such a great tip, to be honest.
It's what you need. Make sure that people know who it is. And if it is trademarked, then you can put your trademark information in there as well. Right. Once you've done that, you go back to home, and that's where you would then save, right, and overwrite your copy with that in.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you could distribute it. Now, something else I can do in here is this button here. I can install it. Into Illustrator. So if I click on there, I don't have to go and install it on my operating system if I only want to use it in Illustrator. So now if I just collapse that, let's go ahead. I didn't put the diacritical marks in, but that's no biggie. Let's just go ahead here and select that, and we will go for MIC, and you can see there it is. So now we can type with it.
Yay! Magic. This is great.
Now there's that substitution error going on there because it doesn't have the characters to show that. But if I added them by dragging them in, as I did before, give them a name, drag them in, then you've got your font.
This is amazing. I think this is great.
It's good stuff, right?
Very good stuff. In fact, I'm gonna rewatch the stream and do my own font.
Nice.
True story. Great. It lives here on Adobe Live by Tony Harbor.
Yes.
So
there we are.
Perfect. Right on time. Right on time. We're at the end of our session. Thank you so much, Tony. This has been amazing, entertaining. The chat has been also super lovely, and it was amazing to engage with everyone. And yeah, I just want to remind everyone that we're live. Oh, with our friend. Just one last goodbye from our friend.
Afif.
Good. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Just a reminder, we're live every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 12 UK time. Don't forget, we have such an amazing schedule next week. On Monday, we have Thomas Heaton working on landscape photography. On Tuesday, we have illustration with Mohammed Shaheen. And on Wednesday, we have illustration with Raquel Costa. And thank you again for joining us, Tony. It has been absolutely lovely to have you.
Thanks, Natalie. It's lovely spending time with you. We finally get to do a stream together.
I know.
There we go.
We have to do the color part, the color font part.
Yes, that would be a good one to do.
Great. So thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day and see you next week.
Take care. Bye.